Hello, my name is John, and I'm a nerd.
Hello, this is your awesome Canuck Grandpa here, and today I'm going to do my review of the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor. Finally got a chance to watch all 3 of them, and I have kind of mixed reaction to it. There's some things I really liked about it, and there were some things I thought were kind of out of place. But for the most part, I think overall, I rather enjoyed it. So that's what I'll say right now. And then I'm going to get into some details. Now, first of all, this is kind of silly and maybe frivolous and doesn't really matter, but I have to say that the title shot for Andor is nowhere near as impressive as the Kenobi one was. I just love the way that Kenobi title flew in like a sandstorm and became the title. The Andor one doesn't seem to have any real significance to it. It's just slow and kind of boring. I like the actual logo, but it's just slow and kind of boring. Okay. Now, as far as all of the acting and everything, I thought the acting was fine in it. I didn't think anybody was poor, which is not unusual for some of the performances in a movie or a show to be a series to be a little bit off. It happens even in some of the best movies. Some of the acting is not the greatest, but in this one, I couldn't fault anybody, not even in the flashbacks. Which brings me to one of the things that I kind of didn't like and did like. And it seems to be kind of a fad now to have your story so that some of it takes place in one time frame, and then it just jumps to another time frame with some kind of a maybe clever wipe on the frame or something like that. It was kind of innovative when Arrow did it. It was the first one I remember doing that particular format. Seemed to me that it started around that time. Maybe Arrow wasn't the first one to do it, but it was the first one I noticed that did that format. And it's been picked up a lot since. And it's almost kind of cliche now. And when it happens, I kind of shake my head and go, oh no. Not another one. I mean, obviously they did it with Boba Fett, and it wasn't the best way. I don't know why they couldn't just take that storyline and do it kind of as a prelude, and then move on with the rest of the story. That would have been a very long prelude for Boba Fett. Another thing that I thought was interesting is how this show, Andor, started in a very rough, seedy part of the Star Wars universe, going into a brothel, no less. It was tastefully handled. It wasn't crude or anything. A little surprising to be in Star Wars, but those things exist. I mean, it was actually Club Obi-Wan in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That had tones of possibly being something like that. So it's not new. This was a little bit more involved, but like I said, it was handled fairly tastefully, and it wasn't anything that bothered me. It was setting up something that had to happen. I don't want to give away too many spoilers in this, but the event that kind of puts him on the run begins in this setting. It gave you a preview of what this whole thing was going to be about. It's going to be about the really dark side of Star Wars universe. in this event where he puts himself kind of on the run, basically, it's kind of a prelude to the event that happens at the very beginning of Rogue One, where he meets the spy in the circular city. I don't remember the name of that city at the moment. My apologies. I should have looked it up, but I don't remember the name of it. But it's just kind of this scene in the very first episode, very near the beginning of it, sets his character. It sets it up so you can see what kind of a person this Andor character is. And of course, they have to have a cute little robot, which is this B. I think his name is B. I don't know if it's B-E-E or just the letter B. It doesn't really play a whole lot in the story, really. I mean, it's kind of a go-between between him and his mother figure. Don't want to give too much away, but there is a mother figure that he communicates with. And this robot kind of goes back and forth between the two, the mother character and Andor. It's very different than an astromech. It's a domestic servant type of thing, kind of your butler droid, I guess. And he's not 100%, which is kind of interesting. It kind of puts you in the mind of Bob from The Black Hole, another Disney movie. A very underrated Disney movie, although it had issues. It had kind of your 2001 psychedelica toward the end, but it was a good movie. And this guy just kind of reminded me of Bob. Not that he looks like him. It's just the kind of a quirky, malfunctioning robot. So he was interesting. The relationships that he has with all these different people kind of it's almost kind of a Han Solo thing where he owes them all money. And they're all kind of like, no more. So that just adds to his character. Now this female character that's in here, I've got to look up her name. I don't remember what it was. Hold on a moment. The Bix Colleen character, it looks like she's going to be kind of a romantic interest, perhaps, for Andor. Not sure. She's definitely a friend who's still a little frustrated with Andor's activities, and be interesting to see where that goes. I was talking about the flashbacks earlier. Dropping into this jungle environment that's in the flashbacks is a little bit jarring because there's no visible indication that all of a sudden you're at a different time and place. You just kind of figure it out when somebody says his name, and you're going, oh, okay, we're back in time. But it was actually kind of an interesting aspect to see that part of his life and what was going on there. Like I said, I'm just a little tired of that format. Not that anybody's going to stop it for me. It just seems a little almost cliche now. And tired, worn out. I think somebody could come up with a better way, maybe, but it works. It works. It still keeps your interest. As long as that parallel storyline is interesting enough. The problem with Boba Fett is it got a little tedious, and that section probably could have been a lot shorter. I still think it would have to be an episode into itself or something if you were going to do it as a prologue. That might have worked, but anyway, moving on. That was just one of the things that kind of frustrated me about this. Another thing, the villain in this story is kind of an ambiguous thing. It's very interesting because Andor is actually the villain. And the villain, the Imperial officer that's in charge of the area, kind of the police, local police department, I guess, is more what it's like, is the villain, per se, sort of, at this point, but he's actually just trying to figure out something and that was illegal and try and solve a mystery, basically. So it's very interesting to actually be rooting for the villain instead of the hero. However, the hero is not actually a hero as far as, well, I don't know. We haven't seen how this is all going to play out yet. He's done some, by the end of the third episode, he's done some things that make you wonder, okay, is he out playing this correctly, or is he going beyond what should be done? So we'll see. It's just a very interesting way that they're doing this. And I kind of like this, the way they're doing it so far. We'll see how it plays out. But it's very interesting, this reversal of heroism. Okay, now episode 2 starts out with a flashback. But then when it comes back to Andor's adult life, we start off with this guy banging drums. I don't know what it is, but Disney seems to have a fascination with banging drums. This very similar drum style was used in The Mandalorian, in the scene with in the episode with Ahsoka, where she was going to that city and they had a big drum up there. That one was circular, this one's not. It's just kind of an interesting fascination with drums. It's also an interesting look at the culture there. This guy seems to relish his job, too. So it's actually kind of an interesting little aside there in the Disney vein, the use of drums. I was kind of surprised to see that Andor has a mother character in this. And it was very interesting to see that relationship. It's not a lot, but there's enough in there to, well, it's actually, well, I won't say too much about that, but I enjoyed the mother aspect. In the second episode, you meet Stellan Skarsgård's character, and he kind of travels a little bit on public transport, and he runs into this elderly gentleman. It's Ron Cook, plays a guy named Willie, and he's been in a lot of different things. It's kind of fun to just see him play that little cameo. I don't know if he'll have more to do with anything in the later episodes or not, but it was basically just somebody that Stellan Skarsgård's character, Luthen Rael, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Luthen Rael, ran into just on some public transport. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is there's 3 moments in these first 3 episodes that seemed a little out of place. Like one of them, well, 2 of them were language uses. One of them was an overly intimate romantic scene. It wasn't super horrible, but it just seemed out of place. The 2 uses of foul language, one of them was the bastard was the word that was used, and in the third episode, the Scottish SWAT team leader, Star Wars SWAT team type of thing, he actually used the SHI word, and these aren't the worst things people can say. And it just seemed really out of place in Star Wars. Star Wars takes place long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And that's why they were written the way they were. It was meant to be a different culture with different ways of speaking and so forth. And yeah, they used it like twerp. I mean, that's a pretty modern colloquialism. But it was pretty mild, because essentially George Lucas's intention was Star Wars was for kids. And adults both. It was supposed to be enjoyable by the whole family. So, not the worst things that ever happened in a movie, by a long shot, but they just seemed a little out of place. So, for that reason, I took off a couple of points for it, because really, overall, as you probably noticed when I talked about it, I really enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a really interesting look at the Star Wars universe. So for that reason, I'm giving it 4 salutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 full salutes. And it doesn't get 4.5 or 5 because of those few little issues I mentioned. I have to say, on a positive thing, the fact that Stellan Skarsgård was in this was a plus. I really enjoy him as an actor. I kind of wish Star Wars would get back to using the unknown actors for important roles, because that was kind of the fun of the original Star Wars. Nobody knew Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher, really. I mean, Carrie Fisher was famous daughter, and Harrison Ford had been in American Graffiti as a supporting character. But for the most part, they were fairly well unknown actors. Mark Hamill had been in a few things, but not anything really big or super popular. The point is, I enjoyed, with the original Superman movie in 1978, they hunted and hunted until they found this kind of obscure soap opera actor named Christopher Reeve, and then he became Superman. And to this date, I still think he's the best Superman that we've ever had. Henry Cavill's okay. I just am not a big fan of his acting range. That's just a little wish of mine that they would go back to discovering actors rather than using big names. Not big names occasionally. I mean, the original Star Wars had Alec Guinness in it. He was a big name, as was Peter Cushing. He was they were both very famous actors. So a balance of that would be kind of cool. Rey, no, I'm not a big fan of the sequels, but Daisy Ridley was a good discovery. She's a good actress, and I think she did as well as she could with the Rey character. All right, so there's my ravings. 4 salutes. If you think I'm being ridiculous and disagree with anything and everything I say, then please let me know. Be happy to respond to any comments you make below. If you have any suggestions as to what you'd like me to look at and react to, please let me know that as well. In the meantime, I thank you for watching and have a great day.